right now is Douglas Holtz-Eakin. He's a former director of the Congressional Budget Office, former economic advisor to Senator John McCain. Doug, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much. First, I need to get your reaction to the tweet from the president. It literally came through as we were walking onto set when he says, as usual, the Fed did nothing. He's talking about this speech from Jay Powell. And then my only question is, who is our bigger enemy, Jay Powell, which looks like he spelled his name wrong, or Chairman Xi? Your reaction to that?
Well, it's a clear escalation in what has been a long-standing campaign against the Fed and trying to force his hand to lower rates. That's unmistakable. I think what I find interesting is that no one should have been surprised that China levied these tariffs. From the outset, they have responded to every tariff increase with some sort of commensurate response, and this looks exactly the same. Some on September 1st, some on December 15th, exactly the way the president laid out his additional tariffs. So that's not surprising. They chose today to announce it, and I think that was an unmistakable intrusion into American politics. They know the White House has been all over the map this week about whether the economy is in trouble or not, and whether they need to do something or not, and they knew this would put additional pressure on the tension between the Fed and the president took the bait.
It sure looks like it. One correction on my part. My note was incorrectly written. He did not incorrectly spell Jay Powell's name. That's the only small correction I will offer. I wish I could say that that actually wasn't the tweet, but it was. What does this do, though? I mean, honestly, the list of people that the president lists out as enemies is long now. And how seriously, what is the impact of this? His words matter. Confidence in the economy matters. When he's equating Jay Powell to being as big of an enemy or worse than China, I don't even know what to do with it.
Well, I think a couple things. Number one, we know from watching him now for some time, everything is personal. He takes every policy issue and he turns it into a personal battle between him and somebody. So he has turned this into a battle with Jay Powell. He has made Jay Powell the face of his discontent with the Federal Reserve. It's important to step past that. If you're Jay Powell and you're the Fed, you have to stick to your mandate, look at the data as was mentioned earlier, and decide whether it is appropriate for the American people to have rates go down or stay where they are. There's a lot of reason to believe they're in the right place and that they shouldn't move. And they will have to put up with the continued ire of the president if that's the decision they make in September.
Can I read you something? There was an interesting quote, Doug, just kind of, it's about all of this, from the Washington Post this morning, and it says, as the president's staff has been beginning to talk to him about warnings of the economic clouds ahead, the president apparently thinks that it's just all about the narrative. And here's one bit from the article. He has told aides that he thinks he can convince Americans that the economy is vibrant and unrattled through a public messaging campaign. Is the current economic forecast and outlook that you see something that you can message your way out of?
I think there's actually an element of truth to this. You know, I've been in two White Houses. It is important for the president to exude confidence in the American people and the American economy. It is a bad thing for the president to talk down the economy and instill fears that really have no merit. And so in every White House, there's an attempt at message discipline to talk about the strength of the fundamentals, to talk about the kinds of things that you see in the data, and at the same time to prepare for any downside risks with policies that might help. The difference is all this stuff is typically kept out of sight of the public. The debate in the background about whether you should move or not, sort of, you know, what's the outlook. This is all over the front pages. It does nothing to help the president actually convince the American people that the economy's in good shape. He's beginning to convince them that it's not, and that's a mistake. And I find it all quite discouraging. We need a tighter message discipline out of the White House, and we need better economic policy development, not this kind of chaotic process we've seen over the past week.
Yeah. Doug, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.